This AI system books mortgage consultations, logs every call, and never once break the law. Even though it's talking to callers 24/7 with zero human supervision. And here's how I built it. The client is a reverse mortgage brokerage. Reverse mortgages are heavily regulated. Anything involving rates, payments, savings, or loan outcomes legally has to come from a licensed loan officer. That's not a nice to have compliance note. If an assistant or an AI agent says the wrong thing, that's real regulatory exposure. And on top of that, they had operational problems every growing brokerage has. Leads calling outside business hours, no consistent way to book a follow up, no visibility into what happened on a call after it ended, and no fallback if something technical broke silently in the background. Before writing a single workflow, I mapped out what the system actually needed to be. Not just a voice bot, but an operational layer. So, first of all, I created a voice agent that could hold a real conversation. And then I added a calendar logic so it doesn't just take a message. It was actually booking, checking conflicts, and reoffering slots. And then I added a logging layer where every call had a record, not just for scheduling, but so the broker could actually see what was happening. And then I added error handling that didn't fail silently. If a booking attempt or a data write failed, someone had to know. I built this on the Retell AI for the voice layer, n8n for all the orchestration underneath it, and Supabase for logging call events. Let's start with the actual conversation flow for the intake agent. Right here in the global prompt, you can see I have written never quote interest rates, payments, savings, or make product recommendations. Never say anything that requires an NMLS license. Never promise approvals, savings, pre-qualification, or loan outcomes. If caller is confused, frustrated, or asks for a rate, politely tell them I am not licensed to discuss loan details, but I can connect you with a licensed loan officer. So that depends on a caller whether he wants to continue with the bot or just want to go for the loan officer. So if a caller goes for the loan officer, then voice, then this agent calls my second agent. Here it comes from conversational to operational. The agent asks for availability and it already knows the real constraints 9 to 5 weekdays and a Saturday window from 3 to 5. If someone picks a time outside that, it doesn't just accept it, it asks them to pick again. Before it even books anything, it explicitly asks for permission to text appointment confirmation. And that consent gets captured here as a variable. This was built in deliberately. Texting someone without consent is its own compliance problem. So it's not an afterthought, it's a required step in the workflow. When the agent has everything it needs, it's called this tool, check users availability, which hits the webhook straight into the n8n. I'll just show you. This is the check calendar availability workflow, and this one is schedule a meeting. So when loan officers, when there's availability for loan officers, it just books the appointment and then it calls a schedule a meeting. And otherwise, it just goes back to the voice agent. Now the part that matters after the call ends. Every single call gets logged here. The transcript, the outcome, whether it's booked, transferred, or just dropped. This turns the system from a black box into something the broker can actually see into. Who called, what happened, and why. One more piece worth showing, reverse mortgages legally require counseling documentation before closing. This workflow automatically extracts the structured data out of those documents instead of someone doing it by hand. And because this runs unattended 24/7, it has to fail safely, not silently. If a calendar if a calendar booking fails or a ride to Supabase fails, this layer catches it and flags it instead of just quietly losing the data. That's the difference between something that looks good in a demo and something you can actually trust in production. This brokerage now has a 24/7 intake layer that never crosses a compliance line, books real appointments without a human touching a calendar, gives the team full visibility into every call, and doesn't lose data when something breaks. Four separate operational risks collapsed into one system that just runs on its own. This is kind of work I do, not just writing up a chatbot, but building the operational backbone underneath it. The compliance logic, the scheduling logic, the data trail, and the failure handling that makes it actually reliable. If you are dealing with something similar, calls, leads, or scheduling that need to turn themselves without breaking, let's talk.